Hey everybody, on today's episode, we're finally going to finish up Sales Analysis tab in TTS. So the last item, which we're going to talk about today in great detail, is going to be the Sales Maintenance tab under the Sales Analysis section in TTS. On this tab, you can add vendor cross-references, you can create sales for new vendors, you can create sales for existing vendors, delete vendors, rename vendors, and also set up vendor sales groups. So I will see you in the sales maintenance section of Sales Analysis. All right, so under Sales Analysis and Sales Maintenance, we have a lot of different options. And interestingly, this is a screen that is often overlooked, but constantly needed to maintain your sales analysis. So we're going to go over each section with some examples, and let's start with the top. Add vendor number for customer to manufacturer sales data. So this is probably the second most used option on this screen. And as you know, and I'll give you a quick example, is when you import sales analysis, and we have a video on that I will note at the top of this screen, you do have missing customers on occasion, which means that the vendor customer number doesn't match a customer number that's built into TTS. So let's show you an example. So I'm going to go to the commission sales input, and I'm just going to input a file real quick. And when I import this, you'll notice that at the top we have data that was imported into the system, and the bottom we have missing files, we'll call them, or files that did not have a cross-reference. So in this case, TTS Today NYC is not built in the system. So what you normally would do is click on export. I'm not going to go through all the details. Actually, this is an interesting fact about TTS Today. In the number 2 video that we did ever, we went over this process. So I will actually link that again on this screen, so you can go back and see how we've changed and how we've improved the channel. But number 2 explains how to cross-reference. But anyway, let's go to the maintenance screen and show you what we have to do. So add vendor number. So TTS Today NYC was not in here. So first we're going to choose a company that matches that. We don't have one in here, but how about Microsoft Test Account? Like that. And then we're going to choose a particular vendor, and then we're going to enter. So in this case, I would type in TTS Today NYC. And once I hit add vendor, re-import it, now it's been built in the system. Another thing a lot of people don't know is you can actually go in and edit and view these cross-references. So let's add this one. And then if I go to edit and view, it brings you to another screen that will allow you to see all the cross-references that you have built in the system. So when I click on NSI, now I can look for TTS Today. Somewhere in here, TTS Today has been assigned to Microsoft Test Account, for instance. Didn't have any other information in there, but that's fine. And when I click on this, by the way, you can edit this file. So I click on it once, and if I found out that this was not the correct customer, I can change it here and then hit save. If I find out that this is no longer a customer reference that I want to keep, I can delete it. Okay. You also have the ability in here to choose if you have customer divisions built and you only wanted to see the customers in Connecticut, for instance, or the customers in Massachusetts, and these customer divisions are built in the customer file. You can relate back to that video, which will show you how to set these up. So that's basically how you would enter a vendor cross-reference and edit a vendor cross-reference in the system. So moving on in the sales analysis sales maintenance tab, we have create vendor sales file for new vendor. This is the #1 option in this screen. January 1st, or actually I should say February 1st, when you start getting your January commissions for the new year, you will notice that you do not have any files built for that. The reason being is the way our system is set up is each year we generate a vendor file with all the cross references. And that's the main reason why we're doing this. We're actually generating and moving forward the cross reference data, and also logging this information into the current year. So in this case, this is for a new vendor. So if I had a brand new vendor and I wanted to create a cross reference file or a sales analysis file for that vendor, I would type it in here. Steve TTS today. No spaces, by the way. You choose the year. So I can actually create one ahead of time if I wanted to and create new file. And now that will show up in the drop down of your commission sales input. Okay. But also more importantly is if I want to move the cross references that I just created in the earlier part of this video and move them forward to be included for the upcoming year, and this again is going to happen at the beginning of the year, usually in February you'll do this, to see that data. Right now we don't have any 2020, well, and some of them we have 2023, but I would go in here and choose an existing customer. So let's say NSI, which I just did. And I want to add my 2023 year. And all this does is creates the file ready for sales analysis importing. But what it does, most importantly, is moves all your cross-reference files, so you don't have to rebuild them each year. You don't want to do that. If you created a new file, and a lot of people do this, you would have to recreate all your cross-references. So if you created a new file or created a file and wasn't sure how you did it, and you notice that all your cross-references are missing now, you would have to go back and create it for an existing vendor. And that's exactly what we did here. Moving on, the rest are pretty self-explanatory. Delete vendors, so I don't rep this guy anymore. All right, so I don't need AFC 2022 or AFC 2023 or AA 2023, and I need to delete that. And now we'll delete all the data associated with that file, so be careful when you do that. You will get a prompt. This will delete this sales file. All sales for this file will be deleted. Are you absolutely sure? And we say this because you do this once and all your data is gone for that particular vendor. So be very careful. Renaming, I didn't rename this one. TTS today is supposed to be something different, so I would call it Steven. My mom would be happy about that. TTS today. And then rename that file, and it's done. So it renames the vendor, and now when I go under existing or new or whatever, you'll see Steven TTS today. So that's the rename section. And then last at the bottom, vendor sales groups. So we have a lot of ways of creating groups for reporting purposes, and I did mention this before. These are showing you basically all the customers or vendors that would be added to a specific group. So in this section, commodity lighting is the group name. If I go down, I think I have a Steve's Wire group, we have a lighting group, we have a James group. So this will add vendors for reporting purposes to these groups, which makes, instead of having to select, for instance, in Steve's group, I have Add Core Cable, King Wire, Priority Wire, and whatever else is in there. So when I choose that particular group, it'll report on all those members of the group. Just real briefly, again, a lot of people do not have this tab, but under company data, you will see a vendor group here, and this is how these are built. So if you need a new group built in your system, you would contact your company's administrator, or you can reach out to us and we will help you build these in the system for you. So that's it. We actually have concluded the sales analysis tab with the sales maintenance. As always, we thank you for watching, and any questions that you may have, instead of sending an email, maybe you want to have a question answered in video format. send it to askttstoday@tradetechsolutions.com, and we'll mention you in the video, and everyone else could benefit from your question. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.